My name is Malakai Tyne Bisel. It's Malakaityne, B as in boy, Isel.
Okay. And you are a former student of the media production class here, and you have a film that's in the Hobnobben Festival. So let's start with why the main reason we're here, the Hobnobben Festival. Let's talk a little bit about why you think that festival is important for the city of Fort Wayne.
Yeah, well, I think the Hobnobben Festival is important for the city of Fort Wayne because there's not a huge filmmaking community here in Fort Wayne, and I think it's nice to have a festival like that can bring people from all around the world to this festival and unite independent filmmakers like myself. And there's a wide range of shoestring budget films all the way to micro budget. I don't know how much, but there's big and small there. And I think that's good to unite filmmakers with other like-minded individuals.
And you mentioned that there's not the biggest filmmaking community in Fort Wayne. What do you think the biggest part of the community that we have is, and how can Hobnobben help make that better?
I mean, I wouldn't even say I know of any biggest part. I mean, maybe I just haven't come across it. But I feel like maybe if Hobnobben were to have not classes, but just like filmmaker meetups and stuff like that, or like promote people give pitches and maybe they will fund like a little $1,000 movie or something like that and unite cast and crew together. Because that's part of the issue too, is like making indie films like I do, is it's hard to find cast and crew that aren't just like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to do this and then do it, but to find like a safe haven for filmmakers to come to a home base, if you will, I think would be a great thing for Hobnobben to do.
And for your film in particular, tell us a little bit about I can't remember what number it is, so what number film this is for you and kind of how this idea came to be.
Yeah, well, Saternus is my newest short film. I think it's the fourth one that I would, consider like a real one. I've made several shorts and other stuff between, but the fourth one I really, I'm putting it on the IMDb page, if you will. And this idea came to me, so it's a short film about three petty thieves that start a cult in order to, as a get-rich-quick scheme, and one of them kind of takes it a little too far. And I've always been obsessed with the power of narrative, the story we tell ourselves, and how we're all the hero of our own story. And this is, I think, has always been relevant, but especially now with modern culture and society. And this film, I mean, it's kind of gone through a couple different iterations, a lot of iterations throughout the years, probably the last 5 years, of just being obsessed with cults and more of the aesthetic and how the idea of this is kind of getting deep into it, but like Satanism, stuff like that is not even a real thing. Like it was just a sensationalization during especially the Satanic Panic in the 80s, and that people, especially a lot of religious communities, would use this idea of a cult to propel evil, and it's us versus them, and this is why people are killing people. This is why people are doing bad things, when really it's mental illness, it's drugs, it's alcohol, and stuff like that. And they just pin it on Satanism or a cult. And Satanism is more of a fake cult. It's not a real thing. But there are certainly real cults. There's the Scientology. Don't kill me. You have the what's the one with the guy, the actress was in it, and they burned his initials on her? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name. That was a newer one.
Yeah, it's like Ethereum or something like that. That's a Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
a lot of these other real cults and stuff like that, which are very real things. And I got obsessed with the idea of someone else, of a character being obsessed with this and the power of narrative, like I said, and someone that can act a certain way and I'm going to pretend to do this to get this thing, but then they start to use this as a reason an excuse really, a narrative to tell their own story of, oh, well, I am this now, and I am this person, you look up to me, and even though it was all fake in the first place. So there was several iterations. One was where a bunch of janitors stumble upon a cult in a basement, stuff like that. And I actually had written it originally as a comedy, and then I showed it to my nephew, who's he's my age, and he read it and he was like, I like the comedy, but it's really dark. You should really steer into the darkness. And at the time, it was, when I was rewriting it again, was in the thick of the pandemic. And I myself, like many people, had fallen into a Great Depression. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sad. I'm going to go steer into the darkness. So I really did that and really wanted to put forth the aesthetic and the darkness of these characters.
So did writing this in the pandemic give you a sense of relief when all was said and done with this film? Did it kind of make you feel like I've captured everything that I felt during the lockdown and all that uncertainty and put it into this film, and now I feel like I've grown not only as a filmmaker but as a person?
Not necessarily like, oh, well, the end, and like, man, I feel better now, but more of like it was a way to capture the way I was feeling during that time. And for me personally, I mean, this is kind of getting personal, but like the thing with the pandemic for me was I struggled with like an identity crisis, because before that I was getting ready to make this film, and I had made this film, and I had all these people getting ready to do this, and then boom, pandemic, you're not doing that anymore. It's done. Can't go anywhere, can't do anything. And it was like, well, what do I do now? I was like, who am I if I'm not making a movie? And so, I tried to write this, tried to write that, and I was like, I'm just gonna focus on concentrating on this, getting it nice and a nice and tight script, something I can just pour my heart and soul into, and not necessarily that I'm the characters or anything, but the ability to, the characters in this struggle with their power of narrative, and that's what I was struggling with, was my narrative. If I'm not making a film, who am I? So it's not a direct correlation, but it was sort of almost like a journal entry, if you will.
Right. What's the thing that you're looking forward to most at the Hobnobben Festival in general?
The thing I'm looking forward to most is, I mean, honestly, just finally getting it out there. I mean, like I said, this project has been going on for years, and we finished it almost exactly a year ago. I think it was October 15th that's when we shot it, October 15th last year. And now it's going to be released at the Hobnobben on October 15th. And I'm just excited to finally get it out there to share with people and have people see it and see all the cast and crew, what those 4 days of filmmaking, all that hard work, what it turned into. So I'm excited for people to see that, but I'm also, maybe for selfish reasons, excited to see all the other films. Like I said, there's not a huge filmmaking community here, and so I'm excited to see what other indie filmmakers have in mind and what their inspirations are, because you can kind of get in a creative rut and like, oh, I'm only, these are the only things that I know, but it's excited to see all the diversity of films and topics and what else can be done. So I'm excited to see a bunch of movies, of what other people poured their hearts and souls into.
So let's say that there's somebody who's in high school or middle school that attends the festival this weekend, and they see all these films. Like, what's the message or word of advice you would give to somebody who's just now coming to their own and thinks they want to go down the path of being a filmmaker as well?
Yeah, I would say, young filmmaker going to Hobnobben, you're going there, I would say, watch all the movies, take note of, a mental note of what can be done, like of how, this micro budget one, what they were able to accomplish with that, what you're able to accomplish with a bigger budget, and how that ebbs and flows and helps your story, and restrictions can help tell a story. But also talk to a bunch of people, meet a bunch of people. I mean, a lot of people are looking to help, and you could probably say, hey, I'm from this town too, and I would love to work on your next movie, as a production assistant. People are always looking for that. And also I would say, take your inspiration, take those mental notes that you took after Hobnobben, and then as soon as it's done, that weekend, go make a movie. Just write whatever. It doesn't even have to be good. Just get it done. Just do it. You don't have a camera, use your phone. Everyone has a phone. You don't have audio, it's re-record the audio later. Or don't use audio at all in the movie. Use music. Just do it. That's like what I was saying about being in class here is, you just have to get a bunch of stuff out. You have to make 1,000 bad things before you're gonna make a decent thing. And that's the only way you learn. So I would say just take mental note, meet people, and make your stuff.
And lastly, what's the one thing that I haven't asked you that you think that you want to get out there?
Oh man. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, but I've just, off the top of my head, I'm just gonna say, a lot of people, you talk to young filmmakers and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to write about, I don't know what I would do for this. anything can be a story. And again, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but like the power of narrative, anything can be a story. It just comes down to, think of something in your life where, you felt bad about yourself or a negative emotion, and think about what's an extreme situation that someone might be tested with that emotion, and just write something. Maybe that's the thing too, is I would say is the one thing is just make stuff, just do it. Just get out there. I don't want to say shit it out, but just you got to put stuff out. You put it down so you can fix it up. So I'd say just make stuff.
Okay. Well, that's all I had for you. So I appreciate you taking the time to come.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing your movie on
I'm
Saturday.
excited. I'm excited to see you there too. Yeah.